Welcome back, viewers. Sunrise brought to you live from Studio B at the Sawi, Kanda. Proudly brought to you by Paba for the beautiful shades of you, Ice Cool for the cool in you, and Tigo. You got Tigo. Today, the 19th of November, 2012. Ghana is moving towards a new general elections to elect a president and cabinet and members of parliament for the Republic of Ghana on the 7th of December 2012. On Friday last week, Ghana lost another illustrious son of the land. Aliu Mahama, the former vice president of the Republic of Ghana from January 7, 2001 to January 7, 2009. He was buried yesterday in his hometown, or in Tamale, in his private residence in Tamale yesterday, the 18th of November 2012. With me in the studio to look at the man, Aliu Mahama, is Abdul Razak Kailan. Abdul Razak Kailan is a private consultant. Alhaji Abdul Razak Kailan, you're welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I cannot start this interview by first asking you this question. A few months ago, the Republic of Ghana lost a certain president. And from every corner of the land, you hear people, death has brought us together. The politicians took currency of that. And the president, after the burial of the first gentleman, went around the country to thank every Ghanaian. And then Friday, we lost another illustrious son of the land, a former vice president. And then you hear people saying that death has brought us together. Alhaji Kailan, as a people and as a country, is it death that should unite the people?
Thank you very much. I also cannot start answering your question without showing how humbled I am with this very wonderful privilege and opportunity to talk about somebody who's been so dear to my heart, a person I can proudly call a friend and a brother, even in death, somebody I highly cherish as a perfect gentleman with incredible manners. To answer your question, I'm just thinking, must we be losing our illustrious statesmen before we come together as human beings, as citizens of this great nation, Ghana? It shouldn't be so. If we go on losing our big men before we come together, who are going to lead us when we get together? I think we should be thinking hard and long that we need to be united as people before we can prosecute whatever agenda we have for the development of this great nation of ours. We mustn't be thinking that our wonderful people should be dying before we come together. Even as a Muslim child, my religious injunction, teaches me that we need to unite as human beings. That's even the core value of Islam. Unity.
Unity.
That is the core value,
of Islam. Right. I am going to ask a second question about should politics divide us? I am asking this question because of the man Aliu Mahama. In his time from 2001 as vice president to 2009, January 7, 2009, I don't think in my own experience I heard him use any harsh words or I saw anger on his face.
You see, generally in life, when we talk about politics, what is the whole essence of politics? It's a collection of people to get onto a landscape and see about the welfare of the citizenry. So if we are divided as people, how can we prosecute that beautiful agenda? How can we achieve that objective? So as to question of unity, I don't think we have any option, as a right-thinking people, I tell you what, if, as I sit here, I want to extol the values of Aliu Mahama, I'm sure we're going to be here till the hell gets frozen over. I'm telling you. The man was, like I told you earlier on, a very wonderful human being. Let me tell you this. I got to know Aliu way back in the late 70s in Koforidua when he came there as, I think, assistant regional engineer at the SCC, The association was quite brief, though. But we later, by accident of life, I found myself in Accra, doing my business, And fate brought us together again. We used to hang out at the office of Alhaji MND Jawula. He was then Director of Administration at the Finance Ministry. Yeah. We all meet there to chase our beaten pieces. And Jawula was such a very wonderful man. He would have us in the office. He would provide us a bit of, cracks and drinks. And I got closer to Aliu Mahama. Gabi, I can just handle it. The man is a good man.
He's a good man.
Just read my lips.
That is a good man.
A very, very good man.
I was listening to...
Excuse me to say, human being though he was, you could hardly fault him.
You could hardly fault him.
I'm telling you, I'm trying to have a handle on my emotions,
That's right. Yeah, I was listening into the tribute paid to him, and I was listening to people across board. Yeah. When Hagman Owusu Agyemang said he's wonderful to work with.
That's right.
Osafo Maafo said he's a great person you can work with.
That's right.
The flag bearer said you can just understand him.
That's right.
The ladies all said situations about him. Yeah. And then I heard the General Secretary of the NDC saying that he has never heard him get angry or use harsh words.
That's very right.
And then I heard Neil Ante van der Poel, the NDC MP for Odududu,
that's right,
saying that when he waged the campaign for discipline, against discipline, right. When he really started looking for discipline, he said he thought it was in the right direction.
Correct.
But he did not get the support.
Rightly so.
He did not get the
Rightly
support.
so.
Now, if you look at all this, then Chief Kailan, would I not be right to say that he found himself in a profession, political profession, that does not respect decency and discipline?
Let me tell you one thing. All those things you heard people say about him, it was not a mere courtesy talk. I'm telling you, it's something in keeping with the character of the man. He is just a unique person, to be honest with you. I'll give you this story. When I saw Aliu Mahama, I heard President Kufuor announce him as his running mate. I was knocked into stupor because I thought the man was too good for politics, given what we hear and see on the political landscape, I was totally knocked off. But I got along the line very comfortable and really excited about his predisposition towards politics. And I must make this comment, very profound one at that. The Almighty Allah blessed us with two human beings in this country. Unfortunately, he took them away too quickly. Professor Mills and Aliu Mahama. They brought freshness into the political landscape. And their presence made a very huge statement. And what was the statement? Political space should be given to only good people.
Only good people.
Bad people shouldn't be in politics.
So how can it change, Chief? If we had all the comments about Aliu Mahama.
You see, that thing can change if you and I take a very informed decision.
To vote for good people.
When I'm going to vote, I'm not going in the hope that I'm voting for somebody to turn my life around. I'm going to vote to disable the bad man to get there. Because the core of the problem we have, politically in this country is that our expectation of politicians are just too high. Too high. That's why when they mount the political platform to take our votes, they promise us heaven on earth. A lot of them can be even reckless, I get snapped, like throwing out when I heard some of the way people talking, as if the country is their backyard plantation. It's for 25 million Ghanaians. So Gabi, it's for you and I to go into that ballot area and take a decision and make sure we don't get the bad people onto the political
landscape.
The political engineering could be a very wonderful, noble, and exciting enterprise.
That would be a blessing to our children and our children's children. Now let us now look at Aliu Mahama as a man with decency and especially fashion. You see him dress and he stands out very clearly.
Oh, as for the dressing, you can't take it away from him. It's a terrific chap. He knows how to turn out to suit particular occasions.
I heard people saying that I like him for one thing. He dresses well.
Oh, terrific. You can't take that from him, that one. Even his worst enemy will applaud him for that, He is a very well-mannered person, well-cultured in his delivery, in his presentation. You see that smile you see on his face?
Yes.
I believe he might be even smiling in his grave as we're talking now, It's not a courtesy thing. You can feel the genuineness when you get close to him. You see, a few times you sent for me. Oh, Alhaji Razak, I've not been seeing you for quite a while now. So, well, I'm around taking care of my business. And we'll have conversation. But trust me, we hardly talk about politics. He calls me, oh, what do you think about A, B, C, D? And I don't miss my word in telling him the truth, even if that's his discomfort. He will later realize, oh, Alhaji, what you told me was right. The only time I ever had a political talk with him, when he expressed to me he's worried about the way he was treated by some people he hardly thought they could do that to him in his bid to the flag bearership of the party, And I said to him, look, I call him Ranke Daddy, as we in the Muslim. I said, look, what God hasn't given you, no human being can give you. And trust me, he took a lot of joy in that comment. I told him, what God hasn't given you, no human being on earth could give you. And he was so comfortable with it, Gabi, the man is good.
The man is good. Now let us now look at him. We're looking at Aliu Mahama. He stood for discipline, greater discipline.
Yes.
He started it.
Yes.
Was he confident that he had finished what he wanted to do?
Nobody could have finished a good job on earth. You see, nobody could finish a good job on earth. Look, even out of politics, you can never fault his conduct. There's somebody who showed a very exciting proclivity and capability for very responsible behavior, both in and out of office. Look, he went all the way high there as a Zongo boy, vice president of the country, apparently moved out of Zongo, but he never let the Zongo out of him.
After him.
He was always there at Zongo, be it a marriage ceremony, funerals. Oh, my word.
Now, if I should ask you that Alhaji Kailan, what would you miss? How will you miss it?
I miss the personality of it. Everything about it. That smile.
That smile.
And that advice. That desire and the drive to help anybody and everybody devoid of a political persuasion. Look, it got to the time he was always calling me, and people would think, Raz, are you into politics or that kind of thing? I said, no, I'm not a political animal, but I'm a very politically responsible person, I remember one particular occasion, he sent a friend, Sule, to call me to his house for a normal conversation. And when we got there, incidentally, he called Sule. Is Razak around? He said, yeah, we just came. He said, no, I forgot. Come to the airport. That was when the Deputy British High Commissioner was visiting. So I went all the way to the Gabi. You know what this man did? He stood up and held my hand. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was going to come here. I blushed.
That is discipline and decency.
Oh, man.
What if I should ask you, if society should want to learn something from Alhaji Aliu Mahama,
we got a lot.
we
got a lot to learn, particularly our brothers who misconduct themselves on the political landscape. We don't need them. We need good people to do politics in this country. We need good people to lead the 25 million Ghanaians. We don't owe them a living. It's the choice they made to get in there. So primarily, they have a duty to make sure that they conduct themselves well. We've seen beautiful politicians in this country, and we can identify the reckless ones as well. They must give way.
They must give way.
They must give way. And it's for you and I to kick them out.
To make sure that we get the reckless politicians out
of the landscape.
Right.
We don't need them.
We don't need. Now, let us quickly now look at the children. Yesterday we're paying tribute. The son was paying, Farouk was paying tribute to the father.
Right.
He said he made sure that they had moral upbringing. Values and ideals we stand for.
Right.
How comfortable are you with the values, ideals, and moral standing of the society we find ourselves now?
We have a lot way to go. Gabi, let me tell you one thing. What is really scaring me these days? Politics in our institutions, tertiary institutions. This can be pretty scary. If I have my way, there will be no political activism on any university in this country. Because we're using the taxpayer money to educate them. We're not educating them to come and misbehave. First and foremost is to acquire the knowledge. Then they can come. What do you do when you get out of university? University doesn't put anything extraordinary in you. It only gives you the basis to develop yourself. So if you develop yourself in this kind of reckless political activism, what have you got for the nation? You know what I'm saying? Our children in the university.
Was the late Alhaji Aliu Mahama also worried about that?
He was. Every time we spoke about it. Though they have the TESCON and whatever. What's the other one? I can't even get it. 10 or what?
10 and
yes, we have them there.
Yes.
You see, when I was growing up as a young man, as a child, so to speak, I was I like reading, you know. I used to read a periodical from Legon Observer, avidly, you know. And I was following the politics on the campus. And you see nationalism in it. Nationalism. Each time a university lecturer or student wanted to express his political opinion, you see it tailored towards nationalism. Of course, the legacy of Kwame Nkrumah, you know, it was there. And that was what the students were exuding. And if a political somebody misbehaved, they would descend on you. I remember one professor, Professor Hodgford. A small boy as I was, I remember his altercation at a point in time, expressing his sentiments about some political misconduct, you know, on the campus of university. This is what I think the university chaps would do. But they spend all the time in political activism. And if you are divided on political line and your party doesn't come to power, how do you fill that space?
How do you fill the space?
No doubt we're having graduate unemployment association. My goodness. Why should unemployment of university graduates be an association? You shouldn't go. You should be able to develop yourself. Students should be able to come together, bring out ideas.
Acquiring knowledge from the university and applying the knowledge for responsible situations.
You don't sit back. What government can never employ you? How many people does government employ? Students should start thinking. They shouldn't waste their time on political activism. They need to grow out of the university with proper knowledge. Try to see how best they can put this knowledge into practice. Then they can, if you like, graduate or metaphors into political.
As persons, as people who love Alhaji Aliu Mahama, what would you want to establish? What would you want to see developing from now that would hold his values and ideals intact for generations?
The man led a very exemplary life. You need to look at the man. if you think he's your friend, just try to, look at his examples. He's so abhorrent. Look, statements are making about Aliu Mahama, they are not courtesy statements. I'm telling you. They are located in genuity. Very genuine statement.
Does he get angry?
Hardly. And even if he gets angry, the next minute he cracks into smile. Hey, look, one day I went to him in the house, and I was sitting in the porch waiting. Then I told his boy in the house that, look, old man said I should come, Then apparently the boy didn't tell him, Then the man came out, dressed. I remember that he was going to one of the hotels at the beach, The president had traveled and was going to represent him. He was too. So he came, oh, Rasa, where did you get it? I said, oh, not. The boy name is Abbas or something, if I get it right. He never told me that you're here. I said, oh, never mind. I'm enjoying conversation here. He snapped, The next minute, he laughed. I said, can you come 10 o'clock tomorrow? I said, yes, sir. That is the man.
That is the man.
Yes.
Is it true that good people don't last long?
You see, God has his own arrangement. Maybe when he realizes that you and I are trying to pollute his good project, he takes it away. He takes it away. Because Ali was good. I can say the same of Professor Mills, That man was seriously bastardized in spite of all the beautiful things he had. The man brought this country together. Political activism in this country has been been fixated in anachronism and enmity and vindictiveness, and even in the very alien days, he suckered himself, and made sure Ghanaians started getting together. And it was good. That thing, I think there was a cliche he was running, father for all things. He even did that to the discomfort of his own people. And the man did a lot for this country.
He did a lot.
Just like Aliu Mahama.
Now, let's now get back to Tamale by now. It is less than, it's about some 12 hours since Alhaji Aliu Mahama was laid to rest. How do you think Tamale is now?
Let me tell you one thing generally. Aliu Mahama, you see, that is, particularly some of us who are a bit younger than he was, that is Big Brother effect. The Big Brother figure. It affected people right from the north to the south of this country. The effect is so enormous. I'm telling you. Look, he did it to the extent that, just like Professor Miller I told about it, even the people within his political persuasion will say, oh, don't you know that this man is an NDC man? Then he will smile. As for the effect, it's enormous. Enormous. I can see the whole Tamale and in a total stupor now. Absolute stupor,
One thing that came out very clear during his funeral service yesterday from the flag bearer of the NPP said one thing that he really cherished and wanted to see happen was peace in his beloved Dagban.
Yes.
Can we see his death bringing that peace?
Gabi, let me tell you one thing about what I've known about political leaders. If you are up there as a president, you can hardly achieve your wish. They are the unseen hands there. You can never turn against them. You can't. No president would ever mount the seat and want to do things that inure to the discomfort of his citizens. Most of those unseen hands, they are the manipulators. So if he could said all those things, I really would want to mean that he really meant it in the heart of his heart.
Will Aliu Mahama's death create the platform for that stable unity in the Dagban state?
I pray so. I pray so. Gabi, you see, generally in life, there are people who strive in confusion, whose life get better in a confused situation. If you're a manufacturer of an arms and ammunition, wouldn't you want to see war all over the place to sell your arms and ammunition? That is the core of the whole thing. There are people who wouldn't want to see this country actually united. Left to them alone, there should be all these rabble-rousing and, jumping here and there. That's what I'm saying, that Gabi, it's for you and I. When we get into that small cubicle, to look at the faces and say, this man is a bad man, and make sure you disable him from getting in there.
From getting in there.
Yes.
Now, if I should ask you that you have said that let us build a confidence to elect good people.
Yes.
Do we have enough good people?
We do have.
To represent?
We do have, We do have. Even now, we see them. We see them. You see, the problem is, like I tell you, is that business of gerrymandering, We have good people, both in the political persuasion, very good people. But you see, when the bad things have been played out, they have difficulties in talking. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
But we have very good people. We have very good people who can really move this country forward, and we can have the joy.
We can have the joy.
Yeah.
Let me read to you again the quote of the day. The essence of statesmanship is not a rigid adherence to the past, but a prudent and probing concerns for the future.
That's something from a very contemporary thinker. You only use the past to guide you to take a decision for the future. Then you might be a contemporary thinker. You got it?
Yeah.
Yes. So there's a lot of value in that.
There is a lot of value in this.
That's right.
If I should ask you, I will have to borrow the words of the young gentleman who I am replacing because he's on leave, Eric. He would ask you, what is your parting word before you leave the stage?
My parting word is, Ghana is too beautiful a country to go down the drain. We have to make it as a commitment, I think nationalism is a bit lacking in our... Let me tell you, see, China, when China was coming up, they had a lot of difficulties. Nobody wanted to look at them and, Mao Zedong closed that country to the whole world for a long time, and he imbibed nationalism into them. Now the fixation the average Chinese man is that China is the best country in the whole world. So we need to be nationalistic. Gabi, you and I have to make sure the bad man doesn't get there.
The bad man doesn't get there.
But finally, I would want to talk to the families of Aliu Mahama, particularly the children. In this state now, all what their father needs now is prayers. They should be praying for Almighty Allah to sanctify the soul of that man. And in our Muslim tradition, the prayers of the children to a departed is more profound than getting the whole 25 million to pray for.
To pray for you.
So they should remember their father in all the 5 daily prayers. My father died 1966. Every day I pray for him.
You pray for him.
That's right.
That is wonderful. Sunrise, live from Studio B at the Sunway Kanda, proudly brought to you by Paba. The beautiful shades of you, Ice Cool for the cool in you, and Tigo Smile. You got Tigo. Sunrise will return shortly. Don't go.
On that day, even though we've strayed from him and his way. My brothers, my sisters in Islam, let's struggle, work and pray if we are to bring back the glory of his way. Ya Allah, Ya Rabb al-Alameen, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Rabb let the ummah rise again. Ya Allah, Ya Rabb al-Alameen, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Rabbi, let the ummah rise again. Let us see daylight again, once again. Let's become whole again, proud again, 'cause I swear with firm belief in our hearts we can bring back the glory of our past. My ummah, he will say, Rasulullah, even though we've strayed from him and his way. Look at where we were, look at where we are, tell me, is this how he'd wanted to be? Oh no, let's bring back our glory. Ya Allah, Ya Rabb al-Alameen, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Rabbi, let the ummah rise again. Ya Allah, Ya Rabb al-Alameen, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Rabbi, let the ummah rise again. Let us see daylight again, once again.
You can say